right, welcome back to the Tanooki Studios podcast. I'm with, again, Alex, and Charlie's not here because he's busy with homework. What a nerd! But yeah. I'm here with Alex. We really didn't go into him last time because we were just playing Genshin, but why don't you introduce yourself?
So I don't do as much animation as Charlie and Davis over here. Yeah, they're nerds. They draw a lot
We
more
draw
than
for a
I do.
living.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah, they do this for a living. I only do it as a hobby and for fun for the most part. I'm not the most amazing drawer. I'm not actually good at all. I'm decent at best.
If you have reference, if you're good.
I have reference. I mean, I have something on my phone right now that I can show Davis. For the most part, I don't go out of my way and like force myself to draw. It's more like I draw on occasion. I draw when I want to, like stuff.
Yeah,
like
there you go.
this.
The pencil sketches. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is one of the things I did on digital art. Yeah, it's a Blastoise that I kind of just took like a couple hours to do. I was gonna make a background for it, but then I was like, I got lazy. But unfortunately, as of recent, I haven't been able to draw because I left literally every single thing
in Georgia.
In Georgia, yeah.
Is that your Halloween costume?
Oh no, that's not my Halloween. That's supposed to be like a pimp thing. I sent to Tyler. He's a pimp.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just had to finish hanging out today. With Tyler, another friend. We played Smash. It's a lot of fun.
I suck at it.
It's not that you suck. It's just that I think in a one-on-one scenario you'd be pretty good, but just like if there's more than one people.
I mean, if you want to go ahead and one-on-one Smash later, I'll try and beat you.
I want to 1v1 you Mario Kart. That's the thing.
Oh, dude, easy. I'm just gonna have to stop you right there. I'm the king of Mario Kart. Stop. I do 1000 cc for Mario Kart 7. Dude, the mod for Mario Kart on Mario Kart 7 for 1000 cc is hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most part, I don't know. I just know them since high school.
Yeah.
I share very similar hobbies and passions. The only other thing that I know that David enjoys just as much as I do is Pokemon cards.
And Yu-Gi-Oh.
And
Pokemon
Yu-Gi-Oh.
and Yu-Gi-Oh. Here, sit down.
Unfortunately, I am the victim of Konami's reign of terror.
Yes.
I might have
another
spent
big spender. Another one bites the dust, as we say.
I might have spent too much money. Someone help me.
We need help. It's not an addiction, like Moist Critical says.
It's
as other Charlie says, it's not an addiction.
It's cardboard investments. It's
there you
cardboard
go.
stock.
Cardboard stocks. Yeah. So you ordered a box to my place, Rise of the Duelist.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that should be coming in like later this week, hopefully.
That's gonna be fun unboxing. Literally, absolutely no profit. Just the bare
Honestly,
minimum.
I lucked out. I paid $80 for mine, and I got the $90 card,
which pays for itself.
But like, no one's buying Yu-Gi-Oh singles right now because it's like a shit economy, and no one's playing at locals. I mean, there's certain people. I literally bought the Toon deck core basically.
Yeah, it's
from
gonna
what
take
I didn't have.
Unfortunately, due to the whole restrictions and the pandemic and everything, most people aren't going to be willing to go to tournaments in person because of the fact
even the YCS they had this was up in Hartford got canceled this year.
Yeah,
me and my friend were supposed to go. All three of us were going to go. Me, my friend, and my friend and my roommate. We were supposed to go. We were going to drive in Hartford on the Friday, do the event there, skip class, and pretty much be like, "Yep, either we win those." And it's just like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, honestly, Friday classes aren't that much though. Like, it's just one class.
I mean, yeah. For me, my school is a bit different than yours because I'm still not at UConn.
Yeah.
I'm in the process of transferring. I've got majority of my computer science
credits
because I'm going to be transferring over to UConn with a computer science and software engineering major. So me going to be big smart boy.
Yeah, going to state university.
Yep.
Where they're losing money constantly.
Well, here's the thing. Thankfully, they're gonna be paying my tuition, so I ain't losing money.
I mean, that's fair.
The government is paying me to pay the government.
Yeah.
Stop.
It's one of those things where it's like, why bother why should you pay into it when you already get out of it?
True.
Yeah.
It's basically like I can either.
I understand fairness, right?
No,
you have to pay your taxes to do certain things.
No, definitely.
But like, if you're benefiting from the system, you shouldn't really be paying into the system.
Because you just end up giving yourself your money back.
Exactly. Or even not even that diminishing returns. Because
I mean, true.
Think about it that way, right? The amount of tax you put in may not be the amount of shit you get back.
And I think the thing is, they're giving me basically the ability to go to NCC right now for free. And then later, NCC is going to be paying for my tuition. Not the government, but NCC. But
honestly, if you get an apartment with me and my friend, it'd be baller.
Yeah, I probably could.
Yeah,
I probably would.
Because like if we split rent, if rent's like $1,000 or $1,200 a month, that's like $300 each way.
That's $400 for 3 people.
Exactly. It's $400 for 3 people. If we got 4, it's like $300
each. Yeah, that's easy, man.
Minus utilities and whatnot.
I mean,
it's usually utilities are included. If it's $1,200 where UConn is, usually utilities are included.
Yeah, usually water and gas.
Water and gas.
Electricity is never included into rent because it's a different bill.
Company who does that.
Because of the fact that at least in Connecticut, the
Eversource
is the only. They don't like sharing. Let's be honest.
No.
But for the most part,
Eversource literally has a monopoly over the source of power in Connecticut.
Yeah, no, they really do.
It is a monopoly. Like it's a vertical and horizontal monopoly.
Yeah.
I don't understand how Connecticut hasn't filed antitrust laws.
See, I think it's basically one of those things where the government has systems in place to avoid monopolies, but they don't really do anything.
I mean, the system is slow. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just very slow to adapt. Because they recently put in antitrust laws against Google for their ad and how they show websites.
Yeah, no,
they're doing a lot of shit with Google. If you don't know, there's a good channel called Internet Today. It used to be ETC, run by Elliot and Ricky from Machinima. Mm-hmm. They do a great job of breaking down like tech news day, weird news. Go watch their channel at channel and shit. So it's like they're the guys to go to when you want something to break down to like dumb words.
Yeah, no, definitely. There's a lot of issues as of right now with stuff like Google due to the fact that Google is the most used search platform.
Yeah.
Bing doesn't even try.
Yeah, then that's the argument they try to use is like
that Bing exists, but no one the overall traffic that Bing gets is about
it's micro.
It's about
it's
a tenth.
micro.
It's a tenth of what Google gets on a daily average, and that's for their total. That's their total, right? So Google has this large overarching basically monopoly
and this is what Microsoft got in trouble for because they had like some sort of like Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
Where you can only download Internet Explorer for your main web browser, and they got filed against antitrust because you can't do that because there's many other web browsers. Mm-hmm. That's what led to Google Chrome and shit. But like,
yeah.
But like it's one of those things where it's like this has happened before. It's just it takes a while for the system to get started and like deal with it.
No, definitely. And with Google, especially their overarching ability to pay people,
it's literally buying money. It is money.
Slow it down.
It basically lobbying and that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it will pass through, because like it's one of the things where like you definitely need to give everyone a fair shot at the market.
Because they have the biggest search website in the world. So by the fact that their traffic is a majority of the internet's users overall, then they get to advertise and put advertising blocks all over that search site. It basically gives them free income without them even trying, simply because everyone's going to use Google and every company's want to, put their ads on Google because everyone's going to Google to see it.
Or Facebook.
Oh, I mean, Facebook doesn't count because let's be honest, Facebook is.
Facebook already knows what you want.
Facebook is for old people.
Facebook already knows what sex dolls you want, what sex toys.
Oh my god, they really do.
Like honestly, like because like it's like one of those things where it's like you feel like everything's listening to you, like your smart house or whatever, it's listening to you.
Oh shit, you got two. But yeah, no, it's a basic fundamental thing where Google itself is such a powerhouse that anyone who really tries just doesn't get as close because of the fact that, well, you're not going to be able to.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
it's one of those things where it's like,
Bing?
I agree, it's your platform. You have the first right to do whatever you want with it, but you also need to, if you want to be this giant marketplace, you need to offer everyone an equal chance. And that's what I think Amazon's going to get in trouble for, is to...
Well, they can't because Alibaba is a thing.
That is true. But no, what they do is they invest in startup companies, right?
That is true.
Then they sell they get the technology and create their own cheaper product.
Yes.
Which leads to explosions.
Which would become a monopoly in certain areas.
Yes, it would become a monopoly in certain areas, which is like one of the big things that I think should not happen. I really don't think Amazon should have its own.
See, I think Amazon in and of itself is a terrible thing in certain areas because of the fact that the overall workforce they employ aren't allowed to be unionized or aren't allowed to do much.
It's one of those things where, as a workers' union, it's fine.
But they're not allowed to.
But it's not allowed. Exactly. It's one of those things where it's like some unions hurt smaller businesses, but overall it does good enough. I'll say this: the Screen Actors Guild and like and those unions, they do a great job of protecting their actors. I agree with them that they should have a minimum amount of stuff for their work, but it comes to a price where it's like if a smaller project can't produce that amount of work and they have to work non-union, then it kind of undercuts everyone else who needs to work, no matter what the cost is. Because if it's like $100 underneath your union rate, then it's like, is it really that bad if everyone's from union getting more noticeable and more industry experience?
I mean,
it's one of those things where it's like, how can you get into the union if you don't have any experience?
It's very much so. And I think actually that's another thing. The workforce is basically just set up for you to have no choice but to try your hardest to get some experience early on. Because say I wanted to get a job at a game development firm.
Yeah, whatever.
I'd have to have a certain minimum years of experience. Problem is, I don't have any experience.
Exactly.
I just got out of college.
And like the only thing you could do with that is just like you're fresh out of college. You're pretty much FOC.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it's like you got nothing.
No.
You got your small projects you work on, but those are probably terrible.
You can look like the best employee ever. You can look like the thing that if they hired you, they would be so well off, and they still won't do it simply because you don't have
enough experience. Which is bullshit in the first place. It shouldn't be based on experience. It's based on talent and what you know.
It should be based off a lot of things. I think, of course, there are certain positions that definitely should be filled through the role of an experienced member.
But it's one of those things where it's like, if you need an experienced member, why haven't you brought up your older members into that position?
Yeah, right. And it's weird because it's like, it's basically a system that our society has put in place for jobs and stuff where it's like, you go to college and spend a ton of money
on this thing that might sort of guarantee you a job,
and you don't even get to actually use it for a while.
Exactly, and it's like the only thing that really works is the networking part, and if you're networking, it only works for business or for some sort of different
favors.
Thing. Pretty much, and like for animation though, you need to have an in. Or other than that, you have to work hard. You got to work your ass off.
You got to make it look pretty as hell.
And that's what I'm trying to do with my independent animation. I'm doing. Yeah. Well, for my idea is that okay, it's COVID, right? We're all stuck inside. I'm going to create a short film, 5 minutes. I have a full year to do this, basically, from start of December to the beginning of the next December. I have 1 full year to finish
Honestly,
a 5-minute short film and do the animation. Huh?
COVID's probably going to go for longer.
It's probably going to go for longer, no doubt. But, like, my thought about it is, okay, I'll make it a short documentary. So, like, why haven't, like, big industry people have moved back to 2D animation since it's something everyone could do from home?
It's also
from
cheap.
Scratch. It's cheap. All you need is a computer. Not even that. Everyone can do it on their fucking iPads now.
Yeah, oh, seriously. I've seen so many.
There's
so much art being made on your phone. People, you can see on, like, Instagram.
Yeah,
or, like,
Clip Studio has its own app on, like, Galaxy Notes.
Where they get their workers to work on it.
Exactly. It's just, like, it's one of those things where it's, like, people think you need to have this, like, mega machine to process all this data.
You can use a regular laptop.
Use a regular laptop.
Actually, no, not a
If anything, you should be working with pencil and paper.
I mean, honestly, yes, that would be the best because then you could, if you had a photocopier, just photocopy it.
And that's what I do. I digitize everything.
It did because it would produce the best results.
And that's what the animation industry does inside Japan. They don't have all this fancy equipment. I think it's a hindrance on certain things too.
And I mean, honestly, from what I know with experience from technology and overall art, unfortunately, while you can have the best and most premium of arts softwares, Adobe Flash, or like some of the free ones like Krita, right? The basically like the two ends, neither or is better than just pencil and paper, in my opinion, because of the fact that at least with that, you're able to fully control every
the width,
single
the line, how would you do
to your own fine specifics with your own hand.
Yeah.
Whereas on a digital tablet or on a program, it's a bit more nuanced and a lot harder to do.
Yeah, that's what I find because like, I always have to fall back onto the curve and line tools, which is fine. That's what you're supposed to do inside animation to get vectors. But it's one of those things where it's like I'm not good enough with the digital to the fact that I could just freehand and draw it. I'm getting better at it. Like if you look at some of my stuff currently that I'm working on for New Age Exorcist, which is the me and Charlie show we're currently working on. Like we do that, but like it's one of those things where it's like I could just draw it freehand and do all these scenes and just scan them in, then do the pencil, not the pencil line tool, the line tool, and just curve it, doing vectors, and then color it, and then export it. I think that's a better way to doing it anyway.
Oh, no, definitely. Because you have this contrast with animation where it's like, you can either have a 3D animation type of thing where it's all in, you know, you're using your software, and you're just going ahead with the meshes, the overall tools, and then create a 3D animation, right? Or, in my opinion, and I'm pretty sure in your opinion as well, pen and paper back to the old style of animation that made anime the way it was. The things that, like, Dragon Ball took advantage of when it was not even Dragon Ball Z, just regular Dragon Ball. Just Dragon Ball.
Cells, yeah.
Yeah. Or you could say something like Sailor Moon. Some of these old classics that looked amazing, and guess what? They were just drawn on.
They were just hand drawn. Like literally, all the speed lines are hand drawn, either water paints or it's basically painted backgrounds, and that's what I think. I think as like animators, we have lost is we're spoiled by 3D technology.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think actually, in reality, everyone is spoiled by 3D technology.
Oh,
everyone's spoiled by the technology.
To a certain extent, yes, everyone's spoiled by technology.
But especially in animation, because of the ease of 3D as well as in certain areas 2D animating abilities.
Where it's like, spoiled. I understand why you were using a 3D camera for, because it's hard to animate the shot. But in order to pull this off, like a 3D artist needs to, even in like you need to provide a texture and a texture to the 3D anyway, so you don't have to draw it. So you need to have background artists, and I think that's going to be the art that's getting lost.
No, yeah, definitely, because it's in a way, 2D you definitely have to emphasize and detail every single specific point. Because of the fact that if you don't properly create a background or properly outline a character or do something as simple as creating more of like a sense of distance between the two, you're just gonna have a character that oddly looks weird in a background or meshed into it.
It's gonna look like a photograph basically. Yeah. It's gonna look like the not the iris.
Here's the thing. Even photographs give off a sense of distance.
Yeah, but it's a sense of distance. That's what I'm getting at, like the portrait modes and stuff.
Oh yes,
it's like
definitely.
You're blurry. You're gonna be in focus. If everything's in focus, it looks weird. But if certain things are out of focus, naturally, it looks natural because that's how our brains work. I mean, that's how camera works. Yes. And that's what I think. That's going to be the main issue. Is like, if everything's in the background, you're creating like all this sort of like.
You have no sense of distance. Yeah, it's literally just going to be everything is perfectly detailed and it looks awkward as hell.
Yeah. So basically, like for the way I do 3D background or backgrounds in general, is that it's usually 3 layers. So I have like the more foreground, which is less blurred. Midground is more blurred, and the complete background is like almost really blurred.
Yeah, no, see, that would make sense. I personally don't actually draw too much of the backgrounds or everything. I usually just draw what I want to draw in the forefront. So, like, say, anime characters' faces for, like, real people, or, like, say, the Blastoise that I showed you.
Yeah.
I'll just draw that as if it was in the forefront, and then give it as much detail, shade it properly. Of course, I'll give myself a sense of, like, this is where the sun is, this is where this is where perspective.
Yeah.
So that I know what to shade, what to draw, where things should go. So that if I do want to draw a background, I could. Like with the Blastoise, if I wanted to draw a beach underneath him, I have this sense of perspective there where I could plop him right on there.
Yeah, here's the sun, here's everything else, yeah.
And put everything in place but the way I do it is, I do it in a way that it's, the surroundings are influenced by the art, by the thing I'm drawing, not the background being
your backgrounds are influenced by your subject.
Yes, my subject is the overarching focus, right? Whereas in a lot of art, I tend to see it's the background influencing the subject rather than the opposite way around. So it's like, in my case, it looks a bit weird sometimes if I do the background a bit poorly, because say I do that, then the background's going to look like, this looks a bit out of place because this the point of subject. Like the primary subject is looking like this, and this part of the background is looking a bit off.
Yeah.
Which is a bit flawed, and I could probably work on, but you know.
It works for you, and that's the thing where it's like you need to find the most efficient way you work.
No, definitely.
And that's the thing that we were talking about earlier today, where it's like you do your layers different from mine. Because for animation, you need to do your lines, your reds, your greens, and your blues.
Yes.
To sort of differentiate what you need. Your reds for white, blue is for shading, and your greens are usually for sort of highlight colors.
Like accents.
Accents, yeah.
Yeah. See, the way I do mine is I draw one layer, the base layer for the foundation, the lines, the outlines, more or less the fundamentals. What the character or the subject will look like. Then I have my second where I more or less shade the overall, like I paint it, I put the color, the base color. Then I put a third layer where I more or less shade, put the perspective of light, and just make it look pretty, make it look natural. I don't really use too many more. If I do ever use another one, it'll probably be for accents or hereditary colors.
Exactly.
Nothing more, nothing less. Because in my case, I don't really need more because I'm not doing more. Whereas with you, you are doing more.
I need to do more because like it's one of those things where it's like
you have to blend it.
Yeah, you could blend it. Yeah, but what I usually do is that's the 4 layers that I do for like the line work, coloring and stuff. That's after I do the sketch work.
That's the
which is the first step of that.
I mean, that's the first step of everything.
Exactly, it's a sketch work because like for me, I have to do sketch work, clean up, and then color and line.
Yeah. Whereas with me, it's mostly just sketch work, color, shade.
And I have this discussion with Charlie a lot too. Is like we both agree that one-person animation is really hard. It's definitely doable within like the certain amount if you give it a decent amount of time.
A lot of time.
If you give it a lot of time, but like if you look like at things like the stick fight things, right? The backgrounds look really good because they have the dedicated background artists for that. There's not one talent being spread apart. It's multiple talents filling in for the lack of.
It's because of the fact that if you have one person, that person has to then dedicate certain amount of time to every single thing, meaning they're gonna shortcut certain things in order to keep it going and make more progress. Whereas you have a dedicated team on something or a dedicated person on something, they can just solely focus on that one thing so that it looks its best, or at least the best they can make it. So it's pretty much just like with animation studios. You have people who work solely on backgrounds, character design, keyframers. You have
storyboard artists,
perspective,
and that's why I think
lighting.
Some schools don't teach well. Like I'm not going to throw my school under the bus, but like
throw them under the bus.
Yeah, my school doesn't do a lot with 2D animation anymore. They're more of the motion graphics, and like that's the kind of the.
They're thing. More of the.
Even in that, they don't teach you like the proper workflow pipeline for. Because that's the thing that I think schools don't do properly is they need to teach you a workflow pipeline.
They don't really give the most experience as to certain things. Like in my field, the computer science and software engineering, they only really teach us the basics and like the bare minimum code for a while.
Because it's one of those things too. Is like those professors probably haven't seen like actual like action until like recently.
And the thing
they might do one small project here and there, but like their main profession is teaching.
Yeah, and here's the thing: in my field, just because I learned, say, Python or C# or C++, doesn't mean any of those is what the employer is going to need.
Exactly.
The employers, especially in today's field, definitely are always looking for new talent so that they can teach them what they're doing by putting them into a school specific for that.
Exactly.
Because of the fact that they know that the colleges and universities aren't teaching exactly what could be useful.
It's one of those things too. Like,
just basic.
It's training. It's basically their training, basically, that they try to get you to do.
Yeah, so then when you get hired by a company and they know that you're probably not going to know what they need, they're going to put you through more training and pay you for it, but it's going to take a while.
Exactly.
And they don't give you that double or that exact salary that they told you they'll give you until afterwards.
You probably get like you paid like the hourly hours you do training, then you get your salary afterwards after you complete it and like do everything else.
Yeah, you literally get paid.
Fill out HR, sexual harassment, whatever, and that kind of stuff.
Fill out HR. I've been sexually abused by my company.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the things too, which is like, as someone who's trying to start their own animation studio, it's one of those things like, yeah, I can see why we need to like have HR. But another thing is that if everyone's from sort of like home and stuff, like I don't necessarily need to see it right now, but like yeah.
I mean, honestly, dude, things are just wild right now. Anything goes. This is the wild, wild west.
It
to
is.
Be honest.
And like back to my point about like I don't understand like how come people aren't going back to 2D animation.
Yeah, no. I feel like
there's so many good programs now that do puppet animation that it's kind of weird. Because Rick and Morty's puppet animation,
yeah,
they don't know that.
The Japanese animation that they made recently, puppet animation, and it looks amazing.
It looks it is hand drawn, but it looks really good.
It's hand drawn, then blended in with certain animation tools, and then put into I believe it's a program that literally just takes that, combines it together, and tries to more or less put them all into a seamless animation.
Exactly. That's what I think schools don't do. They don't teach you composite, which is one of the biggest things out there. If you don't know how to composite, your work's gonna look like shit.
It's gonna look like one of those 1 FPS.
Compositing looks like shit. Well, if you know how to use effects and lighting inside After Effects, you're set.
Oh yeah, no, make things look pretty.
Exactly.
I mean, making things look pretty is one thing, but making it flow, look good, and have like a sense of direction is really what's important.
Yeah, and that's what like I'm good at realistically is the sort of like design and direction of it, and then the compositing of it.
See, for my stuff, I'm usually just good at getting stuff done.
Yeah, I'll say this. For like ever since school started, I've been in the mind just get it done, and you don't have to deal with it.
Honestly, I think everyone's been in that mindset simply due to the fact that it's like either you can try and do things in a way that is cool or out there, you know, right?
Yeah.
Or you could just get it done, get it over with, and just go back to doing whatever you were before.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like if you just get it done and you do a good job at it, then you don't have to work on it anymore. You don't have to do anything. You're finished.
Yeah, being at home sends you into this more like state where it's like I'm here and I don't want to be doing this right now. I want to be doing something else.
Exactly. So if they just well, that could also backfire in the way it's like, oh, I'll just do it later.
Yeah, no, that is the procrastination is a really bad thing, and in my opinion, it's hard to fight against because I do it.
Exactly. And like it's one of those things where it's like I don't like to do it, but like I know I do it sometimes. Just because like it's one of those things where it's like it's simple enough where I know I can do it later. That's when it starts snowballing, right?
Yeah, and then it's just like
of the task.
The day before you wanted to get it done.
It's like,
or the day it's due, it's like, I still haven't gotten it done.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I usually don't stress, and I actually barely have ever stressed, and I really don't ever feel pressured or like raced. So I procrastinate a good bit sometimes, and it's not good. It's really not good. But usually I'm able to get it done pretty much well because I don't pressure myself. I don't get stressed out. Whereas a lot of other people, unfortunately, go through the whole mindset. It's like, oh, God, I still haven't gotten it done.
Yeah.
And then they start cutting corners. They start making mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mistakes for me.
When I do papers, I set the plan out of like, okay, I'll spend the first 2 days of doing just the research, then the next 2 days of doing the actual writing. And at that point, I'm like, I usually have a bunch of ideas that I write down, and it's like, it basically writes itself.
Yeah. I mean,
where it's like, if you know your points already, it's really easy. My last paper that I had to do was, can you learn Japanese through anime?
Learn
right?
Japanese through anime. I mean, very possible.
It is very possible. And people actually, they actually,
Dame dane, dame yo.
they actually recommend you to do it.
Really?
So it's...
I mean, it's a visual representation of the emotion.
It's an interactive thing.
Yes.
So it's more of, it fits more of the systematic plus the natural learning states that you need to have when learning a language.
And it more or less shows you the overall representation and the use of certain words
and how phrases are supposed to sound.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, you need to take a little side of salt, though, because these are scripted characters where...
The emotions are scripted, everything's
the voice and the accents fit this character, and you need to understand that if you want to learn Japanese, you don't want to talk like Monkey D. Luffy.
You don't want to be talking like Son Goku na. You don't want to be talking like you don't want to be talking like Goku in his Japanese accent.
I forgot what it's called.
It's like his Japanese voice actor puts her voice in the most like light-headed. It causes lightheadedness. It's such a like high
Vegeta.
pitch. Vegeta. It's so high pitched and all that. It's like, how do you not get lightheaded?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like,
It's one of those things where it's like, monkey.
Yeah, I'll say this: not the greatest in terms of like perspective on like that kind of stuff. Where it's like,
monkey.
yeah. So it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can learn the language to it, but like you need to take everything with a side of salt. You also need to make sure you're.
I mean, I think that's
putting
life.
the hours in.
I think that's definitely just life.
Yeah.
You need to take everything with a side of salt. You can think something's beautiful or like guaranteed. Next thing you know.
Yeah, it's like Michael Jackson, where it's like you like his work, but do you really like the artist though?
Oh God, it's like unfortunately, one of my teachers recently was like, it's like a leader. It can be the most effective leader on this planet,
but it could be a horrible person.
But it could be Hitler.
Yeah, exactly.
That was Hitler. He was effective for Germany, but he was Hitler. No one likes him.
Exactly. Right? It's one of those things where it's like you need to understand that
it's a grain of salt.
Yeah.
It's definitely
you can't have two positives. You always need to be a negative.
I mean, honestly, yeah. The whole positivity is great and all, but giving yourself false hope sometimes can be even worse.
Yeah, I'll say this: if you want to get work done, pace yourself out, and that be it.
Because you're not gonna be able to give yourself hope that it's like, I'm gonna save this right now, wait 2 days, and then do it all at once. Because then when that happens, you've given yourself false hope. You've given yourself a more or less courage to do it. But then when you're doing it and you fail to do it, you only crush yourself, and then you're not able to continue going. And you're just like, now I want to go cry in bed.
Yeah, exactly. You want to cry in bed and you don't want to do it. Which throws you down the snowball of like, I don't want to do this shit anymore.
It's a big snowball. See, honestly, at least it's a snowball because then you can make snowmen out of it.
Exactly.
Screw it. At least my failures make something.
When life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
When life gives you lemons and they squirt in your eye accidentally, going blind is the only answer.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, as of recent, this whole year has just been pessimism.
Yeah.
And cynicism.
Everyone online is just like, yeah, this kind of sucks.
It's basically grabbing a sock or a glove, smacking someone and challenging them.
That's what 2020 is in a nutshell.
I mean, these are pretty nice socks.
They're the sandal socks, the tabby socks. They're really nice. I like them.
Damn. I want to get some of those.
Good investment. Like
these feel like
bucks. They're pretty nice. It's like I'll wear them a lot, honestly, like around the house, because like I don't like wearing normal socks for some reason.
And barefooted on floor isn't that great either.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it was rug, different story. But like
even rug, no, because you'd be surprised. A lot of things seep into the rug that you just like.
Well, yeah, if you don't clean it.
I mean, even if you clean it, there are still things that seep into the rug because they seep in faster.
Like what? Dust, termites,
blood.
Oh yeah, but at that point, you're not gonna clean up blood. So you're ripping that
it.
Carpet out and replacing it with a new patch.
No, psychopaths actually don't. They simply steam vacuum the top, allow the blood to seep in, and then mask the scent on the top.
That's stupid.
Yeah, it's not, because they get away with it. That's why they also paint their walls black, because then they can more or less paint over it with rapid succession without seeing a single spot of, oh, that was just recently
whatever happened to the simple American Dad Roger, where you just
turned into serial killers.
Where you put up the plastic tarps and
oh my God, no! and then you just put the tarp back over the body after.
Exactly, it's easy cleaning. It's easy cleaning.
Jesus.
I'm not a psychopath. I'm a sociopath.
There's a difference. See, that's like saying...
That's like a Sherlock thing.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not a psychopath. I'm sociologically mad. There's a difference. See, honestly, you could say there's a difference. There might be.
I really feel like in that show he had slight autism.
Maybe. I mean,
the way he acted, right? Maybe slight autism.
Maybe. But then again, I don't think anyone's gonna be able to properly, represent a character of history without ever actually knowing that person in real life.
I don't know. Sherlock wasn't real, was he?
Well, not real in the sense that Sherlock Holmes was real, but the man he was based on
was real. Yeah. Well, yeah, no shit. But like, I'm saying Sherlock Holmes as a figure wasn't real.
Well, the man that was based.
There is no Arsène Lupin, and there's no Lupin the Third in real life.
No,
which is a shame,
but the man he was based on is a real detective back in England, and I'm not exactly sure what he did, to be honest. All I know it was a real person that was based off. Yeah, definitely.
I'm fucking Googling.
Because here's the thing. Yeah, Jack the Ripper. A real thing. Real person. Just no one knows who he is.
It's a lolly.
It's a lolly. You're right. Fate has told us it's a lolly.
But Fate, whatever.
Oh my god.
Not Fate, Extra. It's the one, it's like, not
God.
Encore. What was the one? Not Red Line. Red Line's the one inside Japan. Fate.
Order?
Not Grand Order. Great FGO is the one. But there's one where it's like, there's like another one.
Iliad? No,
No.
Iliad's the lolly con.
Prisma Ilia. That's
Prisma
the
Ilia is
girl,
just
girl
the
show.
Yeah.
It's okay. So the guy was named Dr. Joseph Bell, fictitious character based on a real man. Yep. Reno forensic scientist in Edinburgh.
Edinburgh, England.
Oh, which Conan Doyle studied under. Okay.
Ah, okay. See, because in reality, everything when it comes to fiction is based off a semblance of truth. A lie is based off.
I
of
mean,
some
like
truth.
a lot of the murder books that people read today are based on actual murders.
Yeah, it's really funny how like they just basically rip off like the police.
They literally just take the police report and be like, I could change this to make a story legible.
This guy was run over by a truck and then hit by a piano and then stabbed 16 times. I'm gonna make that into a murder. Jesus.
I would love to see that in a movie form where the truck runs him over and the piano just falls down from like a crane. And
oh my god! And you just have Wile E. Coyote death.
Pretty much, it's a Wile E. Coyote.
Honestly, I think when it comes to storytelling, especially in animation, right, where you're storyboarding and creating story, basing something off of some sort of truth and then making it into a fictitious thing is very hard to do because not everyone's able to do it with properly. Not everyone's able to make a story.
Ability to create a story.
A lot of times, the best types of stories are stories that answer questions while also introducing more questions.
Exactly.
Right? But not many people do that. But if you put in some sort of truth to a lie, you are able to more or less mask the answer, but give more questions.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's basically a game of cat and mouse. You want to have the cat constantly try to catch, quote unquote, the mouse.
But in reality, it's Tom and Jerry and they're best friends.
Yeah.
It's just a front.
Yeah. And then the mouse escapes. And it's very hard because, you know, creativity is very limited sometimes. Because what you think might be creative and might be...
It just seems dumb. It's dumb.
It's either dumb or someone else did it.
Anything you think of, it's dumb. Or it's already done.
Yeah. And it's weird. I think characters that have like the most infinite capabilities of either being the worst characters or
I really don't think there's no point of original storytelling anymore.
I mean, there is, but there isn't.
Exactly.
Because here's the thing. Original storytelling is a thing, but in a lot of cases, especially nowadays, it's just based off of someone else's story.
Exactly. It's something, just parts lifted from here and there, and you see the resemblance.
And it's just like, excuse me, did you just rip off the tale of Arthur?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
What?
Excuse me, Fate. I have a question.
Is that girl Arthur Pendragon?
Also, Netflix did that same shit too.
Oh my god,
they
same.
They
the
did
Bird Box. What's it called? Bird Box. No, not Bird Box. The Silence. Just a rip off of The Quiet Place.
Exactly. It's just like.
It's like Netflix does that normally though. I think that's just to be expected from Netflix.
Yeah.
See, I think you have characters like Jack the Ripper, who, in my opinion, are shrouded in mystery. You have characters that are basically...
It's one of those things where it's like, if they don't have enough on them, you can create that something to fill in the gaps.
Yeah. Basically, Jack the Ripper is just a serial killer that no one truly ever knows.
That's what I also hate about comic book movies, is like, oh, if I read the comic, I can just, like, understand everything.
But that's the thing. With characters like Jack the Ripper, still nothing. Because in reality, in his real life, more or less, time, right? In his time period in London in the 17th century, where he murdered 5 London women.
Prostitutes.
Pretty much. No one knew who he was, especially because of the fact that the technology back in the time
wasn't that great.
Wasn't good enough, not even to be able to detect if he was the person or if she was the person. No one knows who Jack the Ripper is.
Do you think we could find him with our today's technology, though?
No, I don't think so. Simply because of the fact that the way the killings are told and the way the overall, like, stories have gone, more or less, they're not really fantastical in the sense that I was like, oh my god, he escaped in the daring. No, they're more realistic and more like he didn't leave much. And even the things he left weren't going to be noticed because they were overshadowed by the horrified and mauled to the just like horrific standards bodies. Like, he made it a point to make the bodies as horribly gruesome as possible to take away from the rest
You
of them.
literally could not identify the person.
And that's why I think got characters like him or her, no one ever really knew, that are just like great for stories. You have Records of Ragnarok, which is a newer manga that has been coming out all the time.
It's based on,
where you have Jack the Ripper.
No, it's
It's based off the gods versus humanity.
Humanity, yeah.
And you have Jack the Ripper in that story where they made him like just psychopathic. But apparently, the only reason he turned that way is because the gods gave him a power in the first place called colors, where he can see the color of emotions in people's bodies. It's like, you give somebody something like that, and you make a character like that, give him a backstory.
It's basically like Psychopaths, where they got the little guns where they think of a crime, you just kill them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They gave him such a good backstory. And animation-wise, giving a character like that a backstory like that, animating it properly, you have yourself an amazing anime.
Exactly.
Like, if Records of Ragnarok became an anime, I'd say it would probably be hands down 10 out of 10. Probably could easily, like, be one of those anime where it's just like whatever year it comes out, anime of the year.
Yeah. I'll say this, though. I kind of do wish there were more Fate. I wish they animated, like, the whole entire Fate storylines from FGO.
I mean, probably could, but it'd be
expensive and, like, time-taking. Because, like, if you're going to make everything 24 episodes, some of that shit's fucking mad confusing.
Not even just mad confusing. Time-consuming.
Yeah.
Like, what? Am I supposed to explain the backstory of this alternate version of this other character that just appeared and killed the same character it's based off of? Damn, okay. Like, it's a lot to unpack. And it's not something that they can really, unfortunately, deal with, because even if they tried, it would make no sense.
I mean, at least they're doing the Camelot movie, though.
I mean, that's probably a good one.
Yeah.
See, I don't know.
That's UFO Table, too, so it's like, you know it's going to be
good that animation. Is true, yeah.
My boy Arash, the Hassans.
I mean, honestly, though, let's be honest, FGO is basically just taking mythical tales and just putting them, ripping off.
It is serving historical people battle royale.
Yeah, pretty much. Hey, we got this lady, Arthur Pendragon. I think you've heard of him.
Yeah, you heard of him? Well, how about this? We face him against Cú Chulainn of Ireland.
Who's that? Oh yeah, that guy who was
what about Gilgamesh?
Well, here's the thing. Gilgamesh is a lot more shrouded.
Well, not really. His legend's pretty explained thoroughly in the text that we have.
I mean, true, but to a certain degree, it doesn't explain who he was.
It's one of those things where it's like you don't really know the character, where you know the tale and the lesson that it serves.
Yes.
It's like It's Achilles. It's like Achilles. His pride and kind of his like vengeance kind of drove him to his death.
Achilles,
it's really the Greek ones that kind of that we know because it's more the ones that kind of held important.
But you have things like Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah, Quetzalcoatl.
Yeah. A Mayan god who was literally, or is it Inca? No, I think it's Mayan, right?
Yeah, they're both Mayan. No, Quetzalcoatl is Mayan.
Mayan. A god that was literally overthrown because of the fact that the god drank with people. So the story goes, I'm not exactly fully remembering it, but it's like he went to a festival or to a getting or something, to something like an important day.
Yeah. And
he drank a lot, and the people overthrew and killed him.
Pretty much at a coup. Yeah.
I think that's Quetzalcoatl.
That sounds pretty much it.
One of the Mayan gods is like that.
They poisoned them, and
they drank too much on that day, and then that god was either overthrown or killed.
And that's why we don't drink on Sundays.
Yeah, honestly. I mean, you have characters like Jesus. No one really fully knows.
The first JoJo.
Yes, seriously. He is literally the first JoJo. Like, no one really knows characters like these that enough to really be like, oh, this is true.
It's also one of those things where it's like, if you don't portray him correctly, people are gonna be mad.
Yeah.
And that's what like the Muslims don't like doing with Muhammad.
Yeah.
You can't portray Muhammad in any text or for anything because like that's what they wanted to keep him as.
Yeah, no one really knows who he was. No one's ever. We can't go back in time and be like, yo, that's who he was. No, we only know what we are told through text. And here's the thing: text is written by a person. That person could be lying.
Exactly, it could be falsified information.
Yeah, say with the with certain Greek stories.
History is written by the survivors, not the winners.
Yeah, and unfortunately for some people, survivors have to lie in order to survive.
Exactly.
Unless you're that one guy who tells the bitter, ugly truth and still somehow.
Or it's like, yeah, those people were actually spies.
Oh my God! You just have like the guy in Nazi Germany, just like Deutsch, I'm lying. Okay, you're good.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, honestly, you have so many mythical and grand stories though that are just like
sitting there, but like they don't do much with it because no one fucking know what it was.
That's because even mythical stories have.
I'm gonna create the mythical stories cinematic universe.
Oh my God!
And then it's all gonna be a front for Fate, live action movies.
Literally just Fate, actually, yeah.
And Fate is just a front for historical myths.
Because here's the thing, at least the way they do it is they take the myth and at least all the information they can get, and then try to make an interesting character.
Exactly. That's what I think you should do about that. With
Arthur Pendragon's a female now.
Yep.
That was a poor peasant that, you know.
No. They were born royalty.
Born royalty, but really didn't live royalty.
Exactly. They went through the troubles and shit that anyone of a peasant/warrior.
See, and that's the thing. In Arthurian tales, a lot of the times it's either split between.
He was raised a prince, or he was raised like
He was either raised a prince or was a nobody and became prince. Because the thing is, the Arthurian tales are meant to be written in a more or less fashion where you can't tell exactly what's
happening,
but you can at least infer and take a lesson from it.
Exactly.
Except for Arthur's son Mordred, that was no lesson. That was just storytelling. That's just really bad. He's really bad. That's it. Chichue. Oh.
Why won't you recognize me, father?
Oh my God. Garbage. Garbage man isn't spelled with a J. I don't even know how to spell garbage man. God, I love.
Throw him in the trash when I die.
I'm the trash man.
I threw the trash and I eat the trash.
Jesus
Christ. Alright, I think we got long enough. Thanks for listening, and thanks for Alex coming on again. And kind of hanging out.
I will haunt all of you for the rest of your humanity.
You'll go to the throne of heroes.
I might be back. You never know.
His real identity is Jack the Ripper.
I am Jack the Ripper, by the way. If you see someone knocking on their door, don't open it. Might be me, and I might be coming for you.
Bye.
Hee hee.